And now, I present Dr. Mehmet, our commencement speaker.
It is truly an honor to speak at an institution where my family has had some involvement for close to 100 years now. My grandmother-in-law graduated from the seat you're sitting in the 1920s. She received her honorary doctorate where I am standing in the 1990s. My mother-in-law is on the board of trustees of this wonderful university. And I've seen its prosperous future, as you have seen it, evolve through you, the graduating students of 2011, and all the folks who have gone before you and will follow you. My mother-in-law is a very direct person, warned me before I started that blessed are the brief, for they shall be re-invited. So, I've been told by the president, I've got 10 minutes, I'm going to take advantage of it. I know how to finish on time. Usually what I'm doing these days, you go to commercial if you don't finish on time. So I'm going to give you 10 tips. 10 tips I wish I knew when I was sitting in your seats when I graduated from college. These 10 tips, I hope, will come back to two fundamental issues. The two questions that I suspect many of you are asking right now. The first is, am I headed for success? What does success really mean? It's mean, in my opinion, moving forward towards an understanding of what is important in life. So that's the first theme, success. The second theme is gratitude, because gratitude drives happiness. It is fundamentally what will make you happy for the rest of your life, and the beliefs you have and take into the experiences you have in life will color that sense of gratitude. So here goes. How do you become successful and happy in 10 easy steps? Step number 1. Actually, we'll do it backwards. We'll do the Letterman style. Step number 10. Every day, feel productive and challenged in a tailor-made system that works for you and what works in your life. Each of you have different strengths. Each of you has different weaknesses. You might as well do the things you're good at. And I have focused on that through many of the teams that I've been blessed to be part of throughout my life, and it almost always works better. There's very many ways we can find that experience, but the best way, in my opinion, is to find out when you're having that Zen moment, when you don't even see time passing by. That's when you're doing what you truly crave and love and adore. It will let you put your creative energies to flare, and it will take you where you want to be in life. Step number 9, generate an expertise in an area other than the profession that you choose to make your living. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm a heart surgeon. As you heard earlier, I'm on the faculty at Columbia University. I take great pride in that background. When I was asked by Oprah to start doing her show more often, and ultimately to do a show called the Dr. Oz Show with her, it took me, and it will take you in your own lives, a major break from the routine that you have created to accept that reality. It ended up being one of the best things I could have done for myself. And I pass along this advice to you, having made these difficult decisions, and you'll have to make them as well. The decisions that we make that take us out of our comfort zone are the ones that make us comfortable being uncomfortable, which is a fundamental reality in life. We don't triage well within medicine, but you learn to triage when you get outside of the field and truly learn what it means to make those difficult decisions. It taught me to move from being someone who was interested in only acting and doing and achieving to someone who's interested in validating and witnessing. It taught me a different skill set, which made me a better position. So that's step number 9, to get outside your specialty area that you would have taken up in step number 10. Step number 8, develop a system for living your life. Every day when I was training as a resident, and I trained at Columbia University, I would take my bike, and we live in New Jersey, I'd ride across the major bridge that goes into Manhattan at 5:30 in the morning, rain or shine. It was my system. You couldn't get in touch with me while I was on my bike. It gave me a moment to focus. I could triage, I could think about things that I needed to go through. But having this system helped me avoid omitting the key steps for success, a mistake that many of us make if we don't have symptoms. And if we don't have those systems, it means sometimes you end up living without awareness. Because when you have a routine and you know how to be aware of the world around you as you live that routine, you can achieve more. It's similar, unfortunately, to what happens to many of us when we go through life not really knowing where we're headed, analogously jumping off the Empire State Building, right? It seems pretty good while you're on your way down. So good so far, you'll say to yourself. But when you hit that ultimate dead end, that rock bottom that many of us will hit in our life, it takes that rude awakening to push you back into the system. Avoid those pains. You can take advantage of some of these insights. Step number 7, find a mentor. I want you right now, as you sit in your seats, to think about who your mentors are. Identify 1 or 2 of them. If you don't know them, go meet them, go find them. Find out who's doing what you want to be doing, and find out how to get close to them and understand their strengths and their weaknesses. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are here today. They're watching from upstairs where you normally be telecasting this event. And they have always insisted on me making connections to others in my life. That actually is my big weakness. I'm good at achieving things. I'm not good at slowing down to understand what's really happening in the life around me. And they have pushed me to be comfortable being uncomfortable because they're my mentors. And your mentors should do the same for you. You can stand on their shoulders that way and see much further. Step number 6, whatever you choose to do it with a childlike passion. That childlike passion will make it a ton more fun. And if you don't do it that way, if you go through the motions, you won't have fun and you won't succeed probably either. My father immigrated to this country in the 1950s from Turkey. That's why my name is so strange. It actually has a real meaning in Turkish. It means pure or strength. My father, when he got on that plane to come to this country, was stopped by his mother, my grandmother, who said, wait a minute, you're getting on this big, bulky plane. I'm not going to let you go on there until I speak to the captain. So, highly unusually, for a Turkish culture, they were willing to bring the captain down. My grandmother, dressed in a burqa, greeted the captain as he came to the tarmac. And he said, you have my boy on your plane. Take this bag, it's his lunch. I want you to fly this plane really, really slowly and stay low to the ground. It is what many of us seek to do when we engage in life, especially in troubling moments. But going slow doesn't take you where you want to go in life. You have to make that bungee cord jump. And if you don't have the childlike enthusiasm and passion to do it, you won't be willing to take the risks. Number 5, and this is a big one. No one, and I mean no one, is a jerk on purpose. People are jerks because they don't realize they're being jerks. As you look around your classmates, some of you have taken humility to a new low level. With that stated, we have complex emotions that govern what we do in life. Many of us are having difficult times recovering from the challenges that we face along the route. Let people surprise you. It is one of the most valuable lessons that I ever learned on the Oprah show. It was, I think, an imperative to learn in our lifetimes. If you let people surprise you, they almost always will. And if you serve their higher good while you do that, it will take you both to a better place. Number 4, recognize that relationships have to keep growing. I'm going to give you one number that's important, 7. The average relationship lasts about 7 years, unless you reinvent it. So my lovely wife, Lisa, who I've been married to for 26 years, is actually 4 different women. Now, I can attest to that. It is absolutely the truth. But what ends up happening is, I want, and this is a male-female thing, and you'll get this immediately, but men marry the women they want to marry, and then those women change. And women marry the men they think he can become. And he doesn't want to change. The same is true of most of the important relationships you have in your life. Remember to reinvent your relationship with your workplace, with your hobbies, with the people you love, with your parents, the people you end up forming long-term relationships with will benefit from that. Otherwise, you'll be like 2 ships moving away from each other. Number 3, never forget that the body is a temple of the soul. It's not a thinly veiled desire to push you away from drugs or cigarettes, although that's involved too. But those of you who have seen the show know how passionate I am about getting folks to realize how sacred the human body is. The more you understand how cool it is, the more you can understand how to take care of it, the more you'll be able to look the way you look now when you come back for your 25th reunion. Because that is unfortunately when many people look up and say, my goodness, what the heck happened to me? So take advantage of that, live in the moment, and you'll enjoy it all the more. Number 2, the important things to do if you're going to be happy and successful is to live in the present. Like the old adage, yesterday is history, tomorrow is mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. You've heard that, but think about it for a moment, because too often we ignore it. Most people are unhappy in their lives because they're thinking about the past or the future. It is really hard to be unhappy thinking about the present. If you live in the present, you avoid that baggage that so many of us carry around. And if I give you one important clue to this, the most dangerous wording in the English language is if only. If only I had done that. Don't let that be part of who you are. You will almost never regret the things you do. And if you're like me and many of us who are now, I'm turned 50 this year, you will regret the things you did not do. So throw off those bow lines, as Mark Twain said, and sail to open waters. Take those chances, do those things. It's okay to make the mistakes. It's how you cope with the mistakes that define who you are as a human being. And ultimately, what you'll look back on and take joy on many years from now. And number 1, the number 1 most important way to be happy and successful in life is to remember that you must make the driving force in your life love. I cannot emphasize how important that is. It's more important than wisdom. It's more important than anything else you may think can be important. Humans die not of the darkness, they die of the cold. When I graduated from my medical school class in 1982, one of the guests there mentioned that half of what we had learned during medical school would, during the course of our careers, be proven wrong. The problem, of course, is we didn't know which half. But it is probably true for you too, that the world will evolve so rapidly that you will not be able to rely on what you learned here. What you were taught here was how to learn, not specific facts. Those around you have to know that love is your governing influence. And if you look at what children take into adulthood, the definition, generally speaking, of being a happy adult is a child who felt loved. Not a child who was loved, but a child who felt loved. It is imperative that you demonstrate that glow, that beam around you as you touch the lives of others around you. They have to know that you care for them. They have to know that you love them. That love has to be transparent. You got that from the people in your love, and it's our obligation to pass it along. The analogy is often made that we have to be like individuals, like drops falling into the ocean of humanity. That means many things. It means you'll have deep sorrows, great sorrows that will touch you in many ways. But those are part of the joy you will feel in life as you make sense of them. Because hope is not about a good outcome. Hope is being able to make sense of the things that happen around you. I plead to you to not take yourselves too seriously, but to always be extremely proud of who you are, because you deserve it. God bless you and congratulations.
Dr. Oz, thank you for your wise guidance and for being with us today to celebrate with our students and their families and with their friends. We really appreciate you adding so much to our commencement.